Don't panic.
Y'all, my husband and I are listing a house in what the Wall Street Journal dubbed the worst market in America. We're listing our house in Southwest Florida, and the Wall Street Journal says it's the worst time in America for any seller to sell a house in that market. So, you know, I'm a real estate agent myself. I get the question a lot, is this a bad time for me to sell? And I just turn around and look at the person and say, you know, are you happy where you are? Can you afford to sell? Is your home or where you are in life or what you're doing working for you right now as it is? And if the answer is no, if this isn't working for you, then it's not the worst time for you to sell. This house isn't working for us anymore, so she's going on the market.
Now, here in Florida, we are the #1 state on the list in terms of foreclosures. And part of the reason is because there is so much investor activity here. It really has been this way for decades and decades. You know, real estate booms go all the way back to the early 1900s here in Florida. So it is nothing new. But this time around, a lot of it was fueled by how many home flippers got involved in the market, as well as Airbnb investors, people looking to make a quick buck. And a lot of these people use some very bad loans to get into these properties. And many of them are losing these properties because they're completely upside down now. Throw in all the hurricanes and the hurricane damage that came along with it, and regular owners who are being priced out of their homes because they can't afford the taxes and insurance anymore, or they didn't receive a good insurance payout to repair the home properly. There are a ton of reasons why foreclosures are hitting so hard here in Florida.
This is day 112 of trying to sell my house here in Florida.
Yeah, those rehabbers, man, that's why I say rehabbers, everybody want to rehab, but nobody want to learn how to do it the right way.
And today was probably the worst day so far. We really thought that we could see the light at the end of the tunnel, but then we ended up not getting raptured. And so we're still here in our house. And it's just, this is the worst possible outcome.
Ooh. Anytime you see a house like that, the person didn't take the time to actually think about the purchase. They were so in love with the inside of the house and the features. They didn't think about that. And that's a big resale issue right there. That's a big issue. It's cool if you renting a place and that happens. You there temporarily. But I can clearly see that they can't have any low-riding vehicles. So what happens when you have a sedan that has to come up? Your sedan stays parked at the end of the street all day? Insane.
Head out for the day. Let's get everybody on board with the plan. The plan here is my condo is going up for sale, but I firmly believe it will not sell. So that means if I want to buy something in the Bonita Springs or Naples area, that means I am at the very bottom of the price range. Very bottom. If my condo sells, then my price range goes up. But I don't think my condo is going to sell. I think I'm going to have to end up renting it out. We'll have to see how that plays out.
I hate the color of that one. Yeah, not my favorite. It's not for me. Would like that one a little bit better if it had like a balcony to like, you know, for hanging out.
Yo, this one I had to include. It is crazy. You're right. The gas is insane and y'all checking out houses.
It's kind of a small front yard. I don't know. It's like fine. I just wouldn't want to live this close to like a popular street. You know what I mean? Why would you get those shutters?
Now we have 5 houses in our little neighborhood for sale right now. It's crazy. We've never had this many houses sit on the market for this long. And a couple of them are like updated, you know, ready to go. I live in an older neighborhood. Like our house is 40 years old. And so most of the houses, you know, in this neighborhood, if they've not been updated, they'll need updated when people move into them. But a couple of them are updated. I mean, they're really nice. And, you know, I know for sure our neighbor 2 door down, like, it's move-in ready. And It's so weird that nothing is moving. And all 5 of these houses have been on the market at least 2 months, if not longer.
Florida now is at a very high risk for, I mean, some people would make the case that that market is already, that bubble's already popped, that those properties are going down. I think together Florida and Texas hold 20% of all listings in the entire country right now. 2 states.
Wow.
Even compared to California, New York, the entire Northeast coast, it's ridiculous.
I have a property in Southwest Florida and I can't sell it. It's been sitting on the market for over 60 days and now I want to rent it. But the problem is the rents that I want won't do it. There's so many apartment buildings being built around my area. If you're wondering where I live in Cape Coral. And what doesn't help is Fort Myers is in trouble as well.
Cape Coral, the worst market in the country when it comes to foreclosures by the Washington Post. Wall Street Journal did that. Oh, God. I'm staying in Florida, bro. I still would stay. I'm telling you, the weather's nice.
So I can't rent my house because there's so much inventory out there. The builders and developers keep building apartment buildings. And I don't want to reduce the house price because I'm going to lose money. It's kind of getting scary. I don't know if you've noticed. Houses in this area have dropped up to 6.7% this year. Steepest drop since 2011. So what should I do, TikTok? Should I just reduce the price and take the loss? It doesn't look like the housing market in Southwest Florida is getting any better.
I'd like to have a quick conversation with you about who are the boomers expecting to sell their retirement homes to? We have a number of boomer clients.
I'm asking the same question. Damn, she nailed it. The same damn question. Who are they selling it to? My neighbor's house is on the market. Who are you selling it to? Are you selling it to the family that's trying to move up from a starter home to like a new home, or not a new home, a larger home? Because at the end of the day, if we're talking about jobs getting cut, AI taking people's jobs, and people trying to figure out, and granted, I'm gonna tell you, not everybody's broke, bro. Don't get this twisted. First thing I learned in real estate, just because some people don't got money, don't mean that everybody over there is standing with them on that same side of the street, wearing the same type of clothes just like they wearing, doesn't have money. Jokers got money. They just not spending it with you. That's it. Okay? Well, who they selling it to? Weird.
Fort Myers is one of the places, but there's a few other areas in Florida as well who are currently trying to sell their retirement places. Some are single family homes, some are kind of modular trailer type homes, some are condos, and they're all sort of running into the same problem. Their place isn't worth as much as they thought it was, and nobody wants to buy.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna stop it right there. This is where the money's made if you want to get into real estate. If you want to get into real estate, you have to now get your mind right. Stop. Don't go complaining, talking about people losing their houses and boomers or got to sell. This is the wealth transfer. Baby boomers prior to, I think, the millennials, right, carried the most amount of wealth. Gen Zers, they were the largest with the most amount of wealth. Gen Zers are, I think they're out past the boomers. Correct me if I'm wrong. You can leave a comment. I don't mind. They outpaced the boomers as far as an amount, the quantity of them, but the boomers still lead when it comes to the actual money. So the wealth transfer, this is what we're looking at right now, and I'm just telling you what we're looking at. We're looking at that age group, 55, 60, and older. They got to get rid of the houses. My neighbor getting rid of his house. I don't know how long that's going to stay on the market. How long it's going to stay on the market? It's going to stay for a while. Anyway, at the end of the day, still, this is where the wealth transfer takes place. Whether it's taxes forcing them to sell or whether they just can't afford the mortgage anymore. A lot of them have paid off mortgages, but this is where you make money. You can use anywhere from from any creative deal right now to tie them up. I get creative deal calls from investors left and right. So when people tell you that the market is crashing, it all depends where. If you've been thinking about getting into real estate, and I'm not talking as an agent, just as an investor, this is, and it's sad to say, this is the best time. This is really, truly the best time to get a hard asset and put it underneath your belt. I would suggest doing multifamily and staying away from singles. Why? Single families aren't the best income generating asset, especially since you've got one house, one door, and if that person's going, you don't have anything else supporting it. At least with a duplex, you got the other side carrying some of that mortgage, so you're making up a little bit of that mortgage. But yeah, that's the best. It is the best time to do it. It is. And that's cold. It's cold as ice. But people, if you understand it, you can freaking get rich. And damn, if you do it with AI, like we're using an AI tool right now that we put the address in. Yeah, we have to train it. It'll just tell you everything about the property and what you should estimate it at. I haven't released it yet. I know some people have other ones similar, but I haven't released that one simply because I'm still training it. It does great and it's helping us make deals, but I'm still training it. But at the end of the day, between AI and between this onslaught of properties that need to be sold, people trying to get rid of them, you can make a ton of freaking money in this market if you can hone down, focus, and brand build, and stop doing what some of these other people out here, I don't know what they're doing, bro.
Many have lowered their price significantly, and they still have no interest and no buyers and no takers, and they're starting to panic because they can't figure out why nobody wants it. So I kind of talked to them about something to think about in terms of who's coming up behind them that might be looking for retirement homes, and how their behavior is different than prior generations, and their experience and situation is also different as well. And I can tell every time I talk about this with my clients that none of this they've ever considered, none of it they're aware of, which I find really interesting.
I don't. I got guys I work with in real estate that are boomers, and they oblivious to anybody else generation. No, y'all just got to figure it out. Yeah, I can see why this ain't so. I can tell. All these little cubby holes and compartments split.
Those steps.
Folks, we have rentals in Florida that are just sitting vacant on the market. You're seeing for rent signs everywhere here. The vacancy rates are skyrocketing. And now these landlords are starting to get desperate. They're doing things like offering 1 month free rent, and they're even cutting the rent. Where I'm standing right now in St. Petersburg, rents are down over 7% year over year, according to data from Apartment List. And we're quite literally seeing certain investors, certain landlords go bankrupt because they can't afford to pay the property taxes and insurance.
It's crazy. When you go into the city in Miami, you don't see that. You see a bunch of raggedy behind ones that they're charging good amount of money for, right? But when you get out of Miami, those larger metropolitans, when you start going to these places that were heavily rental, I think they were heavy retirement areas, pretty much. Damn. Because the young cats, middle age, 30, 35, unless you got a job that takes you to that area, most of the time we want to be next to where the action is, where you can go shop, you can walk, you can chill, you got the club. A lot of these places, they don't have that. So what it tells me is that a lot of people who typically used to relocate to Florida, they're not relocating to Florida in the retirement phase again. Because it used to be I could sell my house here, relocate to Florida, buy another house, and I'm living under sunny weather. Now, like my neighbor next door, they never did a refi. I keep talking about neighbor. Why would you move if you got a 3% interest rate that you got 10 years ago when you sold your other spot to move up to? You got to sell that? Or why would you move when it's paid off? Why would you do that? So they're not going to sell their stuff, their asset, their home, and then move down to Florida to buy another one or to rent another one at a high-ass rate. Yeah, Florida's got some challenges. Y'all got a lot of challenges coming.
This is also happening on condos. Condo prices and condo rents in Florida are plummeting. I'm seeing condo owners now forced to liquidate because their HOA fees are going up as much as $15,000 to $2,000 a month, and they're getting $300,000 special assessments. This is a Florida housing downturn that started in 2024 and 2025. It looks like it's about to get even worse in 2026, which is good news for you guys if you're an investor or buyer. Prices are already dropping in pretty much every market across Florida, even down in Miami. They're dropping year over year. They could drop by even more next year. And if you're a landlord, you obviously know this intimately. Across Florida, rents are dropping in most cities and those vacancy rates are going up. Especially that decline in immigration is now causing vacancies to go up in Florida and rents to drop.
I said this. I said it already, and I'll say it again. Immigration had a lot to do with the housing supply being short. Somebody said, "Oh, you're lying." Go look at my video about deportations and foreclosures. Immigration has a lot to do with the rental surplus or the rental lack, the lack of rentals. When there are less immigrants right now that are here to actually rent places, illegal immigrants, illegal, yes, illegal. I said illegal. I didn't use the word illegal. Here and really shouldn't be here, visiting on a visa. However, they're getting deported. And this is what's happening to that Florida market, which is a very diverse market. Don't let nobody fool you. South Florida. That's going to happen, and it's going to continue to happen. The more that there's a push, it's going to continue to happen. You got to decide for yourself, like, hey, is this important to me or not important to me? Because I think, personally, if the borders get back open when Trump leaves office, I'm going to tell y'all, this ain't going to last forever, bro.